Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Dr. Fred Cass, Director of Medical Oncology at Ridley-Tree Cancer Center. Our physicians and staff provide comprehensive cancer care using the most advanced treatments and technology. But our role in the community extends beyond caring for our patients. Our community outreach programs improve public understanding of the diagnosis, management, and prevention of cancer. Our community lectures discuss current topics in cancer care and prevention. As part of our commitment to keeping our community safe throughout this pandemic, we are offering this program virtually. I'd now like to introduce Rebecca Colvin, a board-certified oncology dietitian nutritionist at Ridley-Tree Cancer Center. Rebecca provides evidence-based recommendations that support treatment outcomes, enhance quality of life, and decrease the risk of recurrent disease. Rebecca will discuss how nutrients and food choices can help support the immune system. Please enjoy the program.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Colvin. I'm one of the dietitians at Ridley-Tree Cancer Center, and I'm here to talk to you today about nutrition to support your immune system. So today we're going to be talking about what is the immune system, what are some nutrients and foods to support the immune system, and then what are your next steps? How are you going to take that information and apply it in your day-to-day life? And then we're going to look at some immune-boosting menu ideas and some amazing pictures of food. And then we're going to do a recipe demonstration and tie it all together. So what is your immune system? So your immune system is designed to fight off germs and foreign substances like bacteria, viruses, so think flu or COVID-19, and parasites. So your immune system consists of various cells, organs, and tissues located all throughout the body. For example, the thymus, your bowels, the bone marrow, your spleen, your lymph nodes. So an important part of the immune system are your white blood cells. So these are the cells of the immune system, and they're made from stem cells in the bone marrow. An example of white blood cells would be B lymphocytes or T lymphocytes, natural killer cells, or neutrophils, as depicted in the picture on the right. So there's two main types of immune systems. So we have your adaptive and the innate immune systems. So this picture on the left-hand side depicts components of the adaptive immune system, and then on the right-hand side is your innate. So we're going to go through a few of these. So with your adaptive defense, it's defense against specific pathogens or changed body cells. So that includes defense cells in the blood or B lymphocytes, and then antibodies, and defense cells in the tissue or T lymphocytes. With your innate defense, that's defense against foreign substances, injuries, and pathogens. That includes bacteria-killing substances, things in your mouth like your saliva, protection on the outside like your skin, and then protection on the inside, your mucous membranes. If there is attack in the tissue, which is inside your body, then your scavenger cells will stop it. So now we're going to go through some different functions of the immune systems. So with the innate immune system, that's your body's first line of immune response. It's immediate, non-specific response to foreign substances. For example, it makes sure that bacteria that have entered the skin through a small wound are detected and destroyed on the spot within a few hours. It includes protective barriers such as your skin, which keeps out the majority of pathogens, mucus that traps pathogens, and then beneficial bacteria that live in the gastrointestinal tract, otherwise known as your gut microbiome. Compounds in sweat and tears help create antibacterial compounds, and then your immune system cells that attack all foreign cells entering the body. So the innate immune system's metabolic activity includes things such as oxidative burst, where certain immune cells produce a burst of reactive oxygen species, which creates waste in the form of free radicals. Proliferation, which is when the immune system encounters a foreign invader, it ramps up production of cells, chemicals, and proteins. And then finally, inflammation, which isolates the injured or affected area and helps deliver immune cells, chemical messengers, and antibodies to sites of injury or infection. So what you eat matters. So this slide is depicting some key nutrient requirements for the innate immune system. On the left-hand side, things like vitamin C, vitamin E, iron, zinc, copper, and selenium are all important for reducing free radicals produced by oxidative burst. On the right-hand side, things like vitamin A, vitamin D, folate, vitamin B12, iron, zinc, and probiotics are all important for producing new immune cells or proliferation. And then at the bottom with inflammation, we know that chronic inflammation over time can lead to tissue damage and diseases. And omega-3 fatty acids are really good at turning off inflammation. So now moving on to the adaptive immune system. So your adaptive immune system functions as the second line of defense against foreign invaders. It includes a complex targeted response to a specific pathogen. It provides long-lasting protection. For example, someone who recovers from measles is now protected against measles for their lifetime. Your adaptive immune system develops memory of foreign substances so that your B and T cells can respond quickly to eliminate repeat invaders. So the adaptive immune system's metabolic activity includes cell-mediated response, which is where your T cells induce apoptosis or cell death in virus-infected cells, cells contaminated with bacteria, and cancer cells. It also includes the antibody response, which is where B cells secrete antibodies that blocks adhesion of bacteria and viruses to mucosa. So this slide is depicting some key nutrient requirements for the adaptive immune system. So if you look at the pink circle in the middle, things like omega-3 fatty acids, vitamins A, D, C, E, selenium, probiotics. And if you notice, these are a lot of the same nutrients that are important for your innate immune system because the two systems work together. So these nutrients are important for the production of B and T cells, which carry out the cell-mediated immune response and the antibody response. So I just wanted to note that for this lecture, we're going to just really be focusing on food. And the reason for that is because most people don't meet the recommended guidelines for common nutrients in their diet. And because of this, our discussion today will focus on getting adequate nutrients through food. We understand the potential benefits of supplements, but it's a complicated and individual choice best discussed with your registered dietitian, nutritionist, or physician. So before we go into each nutrient and its specific requirements, I want to just talk with you a little bit about how we're going to present the requirements. So the dietary reference intakes, or the DRI, is a general term for a set of reference values used to plan and assess nutrient intakes of healthy people. These values vary by age and sex and include the estimated average requirement, or the EAR, which is the average daily nutrient intake level estimated to meet the requirement of half the healthy individuals in a particular life stage and gender group. For example, the EAR for calcium is set using a criteria for maximizing bone health and is set at a point that will meet the needs of half the population. The recommended dietary allowance, or the RDA, is the average daily level of intake sufficient to meet the requirements of nearly all, almost 97 to 98% of healthy people. The adequate intake, or the AI, is established when evidence is insufficient to develop an RDA and is set at a level assumed to ensure nutritional adequacy. So this slide depicts the prevalence of micronutrient inadequacies among U.S. residents 4 years and older. The National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, or NHANES, from 2007 to 2010, surveyed over 16,000 individuals and looked at their nutrient intake. So if you look at the column on the left, those are the nutrients listed. And then on the right is the percent of the population that met less than the estimated average requirement. So you can see a lot of the population is not meeting their needs for many nutrients. So 95% of the population doesn't meet its need for vitamin D, 88% for vitamin E, 43% for vitamin A, and 39% for vitamin C. So this is another reason why we've chosen to focus on just getting your nutrients through food, because clearly a lot of the population isn't able to do that. So now we're going to go into each 12 nutrients that support your immune system. We'll state the RDA for each nutrient and then common foods that are excellent sources of that nutrient. So our first one, copper. The RDA for copper is 900 micrograms per day. It should be noted that a deficiency in copper can result in low white blood cells, which may increase one's susceptibility to infection. Some common foods with copper, sesame seeds, things like shiitake mushrooms, chocolate, asparagus. And the picture on the right is of sesame seeds. So number 2, iron. So the RDA for men and women 51 years and older is 8 milligrams a day. For women 19 to 50 years is 18 milligrams a day. Some common foods, white beans, spinach, tomatoes, asparagus. It's also good to make sure that you have a source of vitamin C with foods, plant sources of iron, because it helps with absorption. Number 3, zinc. So the RDA for zinc for adults 19 and older. For men, it's 11 milligrams a day. For women, it's 8 milligrams a day. Deficiency in zinc is more common in the elderly due to diet changes. Also, plasma zinc can decline as you age. Some common foods include oysters, pumpkin seeds, yogurt. Number 4, vitamin D. So the RDA for adults 19 to 70 years is 600 IUs a day. For those 71 years and older is 800 IUs a day. It's thought that around 1 billion people in the world have either vitamin D deficiency or insufficiency. A good way to know if you have adequate vitamin D is to get your blood level checked. So there's not a whole lot of foods that have vitamin D, but there are some that are listed here. So things like cod liver oil, sockeye salmon, mushrooms if they're exposed to UV light, sardines that are canned with bones, fortified milk and milk alternatives. You can always check your milk container to see if they have vitamin D added into it. And then sunshine, which is not a food, but it is another source of vitamin D. Number 5, vitamin C. So the RDA for men is 90 milligrams a day, and for women is 75 milligrams a day. It's commonly known that vitamin C supports a decrease in the length of time and severity of the common cold. And so here are some foods that can help you support that. So papaya, things like strawberries, orange, kiwi, cauliflower. So 2 slides of foods with vitamin C, because a lot of common foods have vitamin C in them. Melon, tomatoes, fennel, pomegranate seeds. Vitamin B6. So the RDA for B6 for adults 19 to 50 years old is 1.3 milligrams a day. For men 51 years and older is 1.7 milligrams a day. For women 51 and older is 1.5. Some common foods are things like chickpeas, sweet potatoes, garlic, bell peppers. Number 7, vitamin A. So the RDA for women is 700 micrograms a day. For men is 900 micrograms a day. Common foods include sweet potatoes, melon, mango. Number 8, folate. So the RDA for adults is 400 micrograms per day. Things like beets, romaine lettuce, avocado. Number 9, vitamin B12. So the RDA for adults is 2.4 micrograms per day. Things like sardines, scallops, yogurt. Selenium, the RDA for adults is 55 micrograms per day. Things like tofu, as depicted in the picture, mushrooms, eggs. Number 11, vitamin E. So the RDA for adults is 15 micrograms per day. Sunflower seeds, as in the picture, almonds, spinach. And our last one, omega-3 fatty acids. So there's 3 main types: alpha-linoleic acid, eicosapentaenoic acid, and docosahexaenoic acid. There's no RDA for omega-3s, but they have set an adequate intake. For ALA for women is 1.1 grams a day, and for men is 1.6 grams per day. Here are some food sources of omega-3 fatty acids, so things like flaxseed oil, walnuts, sardines, salmon, grass-fed beef, Brussels sprouts. And the grams of omega-3 fatty acids aren't separated out into the types, it's just total. And so this is our last nutrient for this part. And I just want to note that with all of these nutrients, it's important to not just think of getting your nutrients through one of these foods. So it's better to maybe think of getting 4 to 5 foods to meet your nutrient needs. So next we're going to talk about probiotics. So probiotics are a combination of live beneficial bacteria and our yeasts that are naturally living in your body. The majority are in the gut and have been shown to benefit both the innate and adaptive immune responses. So your gut constitutes approximately 60% of your entire immune system. Probiotics influence immune functions by interacting with gut-associated immune cells, and they require regular consumption because they have not been shown to permanently alter your gut microbiome. So more important than quantity is diversity of strains and sources of probiotics for a healthy gut microbiome. So 2 common strains of probiotics are Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium. So again, it's important to get a variety of sources of probiotics. So these are some foods that have probiotics: kefir, yogurt, fermented vegetables, which are depicted in the picture, sauerkraut, tempeh, kombucha tea, kimchi, and miso. So the next component we're going to talk about is phytonutrients, also known as phytochemicals. So the word phyto means plant, so they're plant chemicals. And they're compounds in plants like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes that contribute to their color, taste, and smell. For example, they give carrots their vibrant orange hue, Brussels sprouts their bitter taste, and hot peppers their searing bite. A few examples of the way they function: they enhance immunity and intracellular communications, prevent DNA damage, and help with DNA repair from exposure to toxins. They reduce the kind of oxidative damage to cells that can spark cancer. They support apoptosis, or programmed cell death of damaged cells. They inhibit the reproduction of cancer cells and slow the growth of tumors. So with phytonutrients, you really want to be eating the rainbow of plant foods. So think about getting in a variety of colors. The chart on the right lists different colors on the left-hand side. In the middle is the phytonutrient, and then on the right is the fruit and vegetable containing that nutrient. So each phytonutrient has its own special benefits, so you really just don't want to limit yourself to one type. So herbs and spices also support your immune system. Things like turmeric, curcumin, with the addition of black pepper to help with the absorption, ginger, cinnamon, basil, cayenne, oregano, garlic, just to name a few. So these all have components that are really good for your immune system: minerals, phytochemicals. It should be noted with herbs and spices, just a little bit can pack a powerful punch. So you don't need a lot of these things to get some benefits. And it's also thought that dried or fresh forms can have beneficial compounds. So just to highlight a few specific things that are special about garlic. So garlic contains allicin, which is an antimicrobial compound. Allicin helps to prevent free radical damage to linings of blood vessels, limiting inflammation. Allicin forms when garlic is crushed or diced and left in the open air at room temperature for at least 10 minutes before being eaten. Some studies have shown that both fresh garlic as well as aged garlic extract may reduce viral upper respiratory infection severity, as well as function in the prevention of infection when with viruses that can cause colds. So we've talked a lot about things that you can add into your diet that are good for your immune system. And now we're going to talk about some inflammatory foods in your diet to decrease. So the first thing is excess calories. So eating more than what our body needs can lead to being overweight or obese. And we know that excess fat tissue on our body promotes inflammation. So refined and processed carbohydrates, things like added sugars and white flours, are foods that have really been stripped of their beneficial nutrients, fiber, phytochemicals, and then they have things like fat, sugar, salt added back in. For example, hamburgers, French fries. And also we know that processed simple sugars can reduce the ability of white blood cells to ingest and destroy foreign substances. So trans fat is essentially a fake fat, which can also promote inflammation. When you're looking at food labels, if you see the word hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated, that means that item contains trans fats. So red meat and processed meat. So when we're talking about red meat, we really want to think about the quantity and the type of red meat you're eating. So it's recommended to not eat any more than 12 to 18 ounces of red meat, which would be red meat meaning beef, pork, or lamb. And the quality matters. So if you can get organic grass-fed meat, it'll have a better fatty acid profile. And then with processed meat, things like bacon, sausage, salami, you really want to limit those because those are known to increase inflammation. These are some more foods that are high calorie, low in nutrients, promote inflammation, which, as we said, can overwhelm your immune system, and things that you'd want to avoid. So strawberry preserves, snack foods like crackers, cookies, soft drinks, granola bars, and sugary coffee drinks. Here are some online resources. So a lot of these websites provided information for this talk, and that'd be great if you wanted to do more in-depth research on your own. So for example, the Environmental Working Group, the Institute for Functional Medicine, and the Micronutrient Information Center. So now we're going to go through some amazing pictures of food that will give you ideas of how to incorporate the immune-boosting nutrients into your day-to-day. So this picture is some immune-boosting breakfast ideas. So the first one on the left is oatmeal with walnuts and blueberries. Your walnuts have omega-3 fats and your blueberries have some vitamin C. In the middle is a smoothie made with spinach and lots of greens. And then on the right-hand side is an egg omelet made with asparagus, which we mentioned a lot. It's a really big nutritional powerhouse, has iron, zinc, folate, vitamin C, and selenium. It also has mushrooms in it, which potentially could have some vitamin D. Some immune-boosting lunch ideas. So we have on the left-hand side a salad with sweet potatoes and chickpeas and mushrooms. Our sweet potatoes have vitamin A, B6. Chickpeas have copper, folate. In the middle, we have a soup made with avocado and different vegetables. So our avocado has some folate and selenium. On the right-hand side, our chicken salad over a salad, and our chicken has lots of zinc and B12. Some immune-boosting dinner ideas. So on the left-hand side, we have a lentil soup. Our lentils have some iron and folate. And in the middle is a piece of salmon topped with some pomegranate seeds, which have vitamin C and some omega-3 fats from the salmon. And then on the right-hand side is a chicken sheet pan meal, something that you can put all of the ingredients in one pan and cook it all at the same time. And finally, some immune-boosting snack ideas. So the left-hand side is a picture of a beet hummus, and the middle is a fruit and nut platter with yogurt, which will give you some probiotics. And then on the right-hand side is edamame, which we know has copper and omega-3 fats. So what is your next step? How are you going to incorporate these ideas into your daily life? So I put together a 2-month action plan. So perhaps month 1, you start eating more colorful, non-starchy vegetables, especially dark green and purple, blue, red fruits. Perhaps you double your portion of salad or vegetables at dinner. You blend spinach into smoothies. You snack on fresh or cut up bell peppers and hummus. And you top yogurt with strawberries. Month 2, you start substituting pro-inflammatory foods with anti-inflammatory foods. Maybe instead of sweetened flavor yogurt, you get the unflavored and mix in your own fruit and nuts. You prepare a meatless meal 1 or more times per week using beans or lentils as the protein source. You add in more herbs and spices to your meals. You request vegetable toppings rather than meat toppings on foods such as pizza. Next, we'll be doing a recipe demonstration. So this is a recipe from the cookbook Saladish. It's called It's All Green. So we're going to go through different ingredients that are in this recipe. First are vegetables. You're going to want to choose whichever vegetables look beautiful. So aim for 1 to 2 pounds of vegetables for 3 to 4 people. On our board here, we have green beans, asparagus, zucchini, celery, green bell peppers, and fennel bulbs. With these vegetables, most of them are just cut up raw into bite-sized pieces, but some of them are blanched. With blanching, you simply just bring a large pot of salted water to a rolling boil, and then next to it, ready a large boil of ice water. So you're going to want to add the green beans and snap peas to the boiling water and blanch them just until they turn bright green. Then you're going to remove them with a large slotted spoon and transfer to the ice water. On our platter of vegetables, we also have 3 different types of dips. So the first one is pumpkin seed hummus. So in this dip, we have pumpkin seeds, garlic cloves, Dijon mustard, rice vinegar, olive oil, and salt and pepper. So this one, you simply are just going to blend all of the ingredients together. Some of the standout ingredients for this dip include pumpkin seeds, which have a lot of zinc, as well as the garlic, which has vitamin B6. This dip resembles more of a traditional hummus in the texture, and the Dijon mustard gives it a nice kick. The next one is the avocado mint dip. So for this one, we have a large ripe avocado, 5 teaspoons of lemon juice, 3 tablespoons of chopped fresh mint leaves, cayenne pepper, salt, and water. So you're going to add all of these ingredients to the blender. This one actually, if you didn't have a blender, you could just mix this one by hand. Some of the standout ingredients in this dip are the avocado, which has a good amount of folate and vitamin E. If you don't like spicy foods, you can remove the cayenne pepper. The last dip is the cilantro cumin dip. So this one has olive oil, cumin seeds, cilantro, rice vinegar, Dijon mustard, and salt and pepper. So this one, you want to first mix the olive oil and cumin seeds and boil them for a few minutes to create a cumin seed oil. And then you want to blend all of these ingredients together. All of the dips can be made the day before. They can be used as snacks. You can put the cut up veggies in a Ziploc container and the dips in Tupperware and bring it with you to work. These would also go great as appetizers to any meal. And with the dips, you can change it up. The vegetables, maybe during Christmas time, you add in some red bell peppers and you have a red and green themed platter.